Rattlesnake venom in a reed? That's not a weapon, it's a nightmare. The Catawba didn't just fight the Delawares, they outsmarted them with a trap so cruel it still whispered about. By dawn, the hunters were the hunted. In the late 18th century, the Carolinas were a patchwork of Native American nations, each carving out survival in a land squeezed by encroaching settlers. The Cherokees, 2,500 strong, held the rugged western reaches of North Carolina, their numbers a testament to their dominance. South of them, the Chickasaw, with 750 souls, thrived in fertile lands, trading and warring with equal ferocity. But on the Catawba River in South Carolina, a smaller tribe of just 150 people etched their name into history, the Catawba. Small in number, they loomed large in reputation, known for a courage that bordered on reckless and a resourcefulness that outshone their rivals. Think of them as the underdog startup of tribal warfare, punching way above their weight. What set the Catawba apart wasn't just bravery but their audacious reach. Despite their remote base and modest population, they roamed far beyond their riverine home. They trekked through Virginia's valleys, their moccasins treading paths from the Ohio River to Lake Erie's shores. These weren't joyrides. The Catawba were on a mission. Their primary target? The Delawares, a formidable tribe whose lands lay along the Susquehanna's northern branch. To the Catawba, distance was no deterrent, and their small numbers only sharpened their edge. It's like they took the phrase "go big or go home" and decided to do both. The Delawares, no strangers to warfare, carried stories of these far-flung foes. Their oral traditions painted the Catawba as masters of cunning, wielding strategies so sharp they cut through superior numbers. The Catawba didn't just fight, they schemed, turning every encounter into a lesson in outsmarting the enemy. To the Delawares, a Catawba warrior wasn't just a man with a bow, but a phantom who could turn the land itself into a weapon. This reputation wasn't born from one lucky raid, but from repeated successes, each one a story of ingenuity that echoed through campfires. Why target the Delawares? It wasn't just bad blood. The Catawba saw these northern tribes as a challenge, a way to prove their mettle. Their expeditions were less about territory and more about prestige, a high-stakes game of one-upmanship played with arrows and ambushes. Picture a modern-day hacker collective taking on a corporate giant, not for profit but for the sheer thrill of outwitting a titan. The Catawba's raids were bold, calculated, and relentless, each one designed to leave the Delawares reeling and their own legend growing. This relentless drive set the stage for one of their most infamous ploys. Far from home, in the dense forest near Delaware hunting grounds, the Catawba were about to unleash a trap so devious it would be remembered for generations. It wasn't just about winning a fight. It was about rewriting the rules of war. The Delawares, confident in their numbers and terrain, had no idea what was coming. By the time they did, the Catawba's cunning would already have blood on its hands. The Catawba, small in number but giant in guile, didn't just wander into Delaware territory for a fair fight. They came with a plan so sly it could make a fox blush. According to Delaware oral tradition, a Catawba war party crept close to one of their hunting camps, hidden by the dense forests near the Susquehanna. They didn't charge in with war cries. They waited, patient as shadows, for night to cloak their movements. Under cover of darkness, 2 or 3 warriors slipped away, their mission as simple as it was sinister. Create a lie written in the dirt. These warriors weren't carrying typical weapons. Instead, they strapped buffalo hoofs to their feet, each step pressing artificial tracks into the earth around the Delaware camp. This wasn't random vandalism. It was psychological warfare, 18th century style. The goal? Lure the Delaware hunters out, far from the safety of their fires. The tracks mimicked a herd of buffalo, a prize no hunter could resist. Imagine a modern-day fishing scam. But instead of clicking a shady link, you're chasing hoofprints to your doom. The Catawba knew their enemies' greed for game would blind them to the trap. The Delaware camp, nestled in familiar hunting grounds, buzzed with the routine of survival. Unaware of the eyes watching from the trees, they slept through the Catawba's nocturnal handiwork. The hoofprints circled their camp like a taunt, a trail begging to be followed. The Catawba didn't need numbers. They had nerve and a knack for exploiting human nature. By dawn, their bait was set, and the forest held its breath for the Delawares to take it. Morning broke, and the Delawares spotted the tracks. To them, it was Christmas morning. Fresh buffalo prints, promising meat and hides. They didn't hesitate, grabbing bows and spears to follow the trail. For a while, they tracked the prints, visions of a successful hunt dancing in their heads. It was a mistake the Catawba had banked on. Deep in the forest, where the trail grew narrow, the trap snapped shut. The Catawba warriors, hidden in thickets, rose like specters. Their ambush was swift, brutal, and precise. Arrows flew, and gunfire cracked through the morning air, cutting down several Delaware hunters before they could react. The forest, moments ago a hunter's paradise, turned into a killing ground. The Delawares, caught off guard, saw their comrades fall, blood soaking the earth where buffalo tracks had led them. It's like walking into a rigged game show where the prize is survival and you're not winning. Panic took hold. The surviving Delawares fled, scrambling back toward their camp, their confidence shattered. The Catawba didn't pursue, not yet. They melted back into the trees, leaving the bodies as a grim warning. This wasn't just a hit and run. It was the opening act of a larger scheme. The Delawares, now fewer and rattled, didn't know the worst was still coming. The Catawba's cunning had drawn first blood, but their deadliest trick was still hidden along the path ahead. The surviving Delawares didn't scatter like leaves in the wind. They regrouped, pulling together a war party fueled by fresh grief and the sting of ambush. These hunters turned avengers set off in hot pursuit, tracking the Catawba through the underbrush with the kind of determination that turns a trail into a vendetta. The forest, still echoing with gunfire, now carried the sounds of hurried footsteps and muttered vows. The Delawares knew their land better, or so they thought, and aimed to close the gap before the intruders slipped away. It was a classic chase scene, but with higher stakes than any frontier tale could spin. The Catawba, ever the improvisers, had anticipated this backlash. They didn't rely on speed alone to evade capture. Tucked in their gear was a secret weapon straight out of nature's deadlier arsenal, rattlesnake venom, sealed tight in a hollow reed segment like a portable nightmare. This wasn't some hasty concoction. It showed the kind of forethought that separated survivors from statistics. As they retreated, they dipped small reed splinters into the venom, turning harmless sticks into silent assassins. These poisoned barbs were then planted along their path, hidden in the dirt and foliage where pursuing feet would find them the hard way. Picture a retreat that bites back, each step backward, laying a foundation for reversal. The Catawba spaced these traps with care, ensuring the trail became a gauntlet. It was low-tech lethality, the 18th century equivalent of landmines, but crafted from what the land provided. The Delawares, pushing forward with rage clouding their caution, had no inkling of the invisible peril ahead. The Catawba's plan wasn't just escape, it was erosion, wearing down the enemy one painful prick at a time. This scheme highlighted their reputation, turning a simple flight into a masterclass in tactical cruelty. The Delawares charged into the trap without a whisper of warning. Those poisoned splinters found their marks, piercing skin and unleashing venom that burned through veins like slow fire. Warriors who moments before surged with purpose now staggered, their pursuit crumbling under waves of agony. Swelling limbs and faltering steps turned the chase into a retreat of its own, the hunters becoming the hunted in a twist of irony. The forest floor, littered with these hidden daggers, claimed victim after victim, forcing the group to abandon their vengeance for survival. It was a reversal as efficient as it was merciless, the Catawba's ingenuity proving deadlier than any arrow. Sensing the shift, the Catawba halted their flight and turned the tables. They wheeled around, weapons ready, descending on the weakened Delawares with the fury of cornered predators. Gunfire and blades did the rest, cutting down many in the confusion. Scalps were taken as trophies, a grim custom that marked the end of the encounter. The survivors fled back to their camp, carrying tales of cunning that would echo in traditions. The Catawba, unscathed and victorious, vanished into the wilderness, their small numbers amplified by strategy that larger tribes could only envy. This clash wasn't just a skirmish, it etched the Catawba's name deeper into the annals of tribal warfare. Their use of venom and deception showed how intellect could level battlefields stacked against them. The Delawares learned a hard lesson in underestimating foes, one paid in blood and remembered in stories passed around fires. The encounter faded into history, but its shadow lingered, a reminder that in the wilds, brains often outlasted brawn. The Catawba slipped away with scalps and stories, leaving the Delawares to nurse wounds from a trap that turned hunters into prey. Venom and cunning won the day, proving size mattered less than smarts in these forgotten wars. History whispers of such clashes, where strategy outshone strength, shaping the fragile alliances of early America. Subscribe to Histories and Native Tales for more untold truths, and comment your thoughts below.